Hello everyone, my name is Quang. My name is Tommy. I'm 9 years old. Today I will talk about history in lesson 38, grade 3. And first, I will talk about the Northeast region. And here is Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and New York. And here is the Southeast region. There are Kentucky, West Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Florida and Tennessee. And I will talk about George Washington. And there are some important words in our reading today. It is the Articles of Confederation, Constitutional Convention, Constitution, and President. And before we went in our reading, I will have some questions to review about Patrick Henry and George Washington.
What do we call someone who measures land and draws maps? Adrian?
We called it a surveyor.
On what date was the Declaration of Independence approved? Scarlett?
The 6th of July.
What war were the English fighting against the French for American Western frontier land?
The French and Indian War.
The name of George Washington's home that he received after his brother Lawrence died. Isaiah?
This Mount Vernon.
What job helped George later in the French and Indian War? Because he had this job as a teenager, it helped him later.
It is the job of the surveyor.
What word means to give up or to lose to the enemy? Students watching?
It is surrender.
Who won the French and Indian War? Alana?
America.
To the Declaration of Independence state. Kendrick?
And it stated that they wanted freedom from America.
This was a job given to George Washington in the War for Independence. He was known as General Washington because of this title. What was he?
He was the commander-in-chief.
What did the Americans call the English soldiers? We talked about it was maybe because of what they were wearing. Jake?
They called it the redcoats.
What kind of soldiers did George Washington have in his army? How would you describe them, Bree?
They weren't trained.
What type of soldiers did the English or the British soldiers have? Mikkel?
They have trained soldiers.
Soldiers. Who had more supplies and weapons? Brennan?
The English.
What is a job that is given, this job gives help to others with law and it speaks for them in court. What is the name of that person, Jalen?
It is a lawyer.
Who was the leader of the American Revolution who spoke out against the British? He was a very, very good communicator. Mikkel?
He was Patrick Henry.
Patrick Henry was the first governor of where, Ivy?
He was the first leader in Virginia.
The name of the house that made the laws in Virginia. Students watching?
It is the House of Burgesses.
did Patrick Henry demand to be added to the Constitution?
The
Clara?
Bill of Rights. And I will read, and we will find George Washington first in war, first in peace, and first in the hearts of his countrymen. And before the war, there were 13 colonies. Now there were 13 states. During the war, the colonies joined together and fought for their freedom. Now what would they do? A committee had already chosen to prepare a written plan of government for a new nation. The first plan was called Articles of Confederation. Soon, however, many people could see this plan of government would not work. A group of men from each state came to Philadelphia. Their job was to improve the Articles of Confederation. Then they wrote a whole new plan or constitution. The meeting was called the Constitutional Convention. Benjamin Franklin was the oldest man there. He was a peacemaker. George Washington was chosen to be the president of this meeting. At last, the Constitution of the United States was written. What is the Constitution? The Constitution set up a plan of government for a country. The Constitution made the President of the United States the leader of our country's government, and first in the hearts of his countrymen. Now the people of the United States had other decision to make. Who would be their first president? There was no doubt that in most people's minds, George Washington was the best choice for President of the United States of America. They knew that they could depend on him to be a good leader. President Washington served the United States of America well for 8 years. He made many decisions to help his country grow. He returned to live at Mount Vernon. Well, over 200 years have passed, yet the people of the United States still honor their first president, George Washington, the man who united 13 colonies into one great nation. The words that best describe George Washington are brave, strong, honest, and true. These words should describe what each American should be for his country. What are the 3 greatest things to remember about George Washington? He was first in war. He commanded the American army against the English. First in peace. He led the Constitutional Convention, and first in the hearts of his countrymen. He was elected the first president of the United States. Comprehension check. During the War for Independence, which army was better trained to fight, the colonies or the English? It is the English because the colonists are mostly farmers and are not trained. What country sent ships to help the colonists fight against the English? It was the French. What was the first written plan of government for the United States? It was the Articles of Confederation. Who was chosen to be the first president of the United States? And it was George Washington. Matching. Write the letter of the correct answer in the blank. First in war. He He commanded American army against English. First in peace, led the Constitutional Convention, first in the hearts of his countrymen. Elected first President of the United States. And that is all I want to talk about in our history lesson. Thank you for your listening, watching. Goodbye.